Welcome to Safe Spaces. We're here with Natania.
He says I gotta be patient.
A Mumbai-born, Los Angeles-based singer-songwriter whose journey has taken her from independent releases to global superstars like Nick Jonas, J Balvin, Bella Poarch. She recently made history as the first Indian artist signed to Roc Nation Publishing. Today, we're diving into her incredible career, creative process, and the stories behind her music. Natania, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Some of our audience might want to get to know you on a more intimate level because you're always behind the scenes a lot of the time songwriting. What was the moment that made you realize songwriting was something you wanted to dedicate your life to?
Yeah, I think it was honestly from the first time I ever wrote a song. I was 15 and it was funny because like before that I was doing piano lessons, but I would hate it. Like I would literally go and like start sobbing at the door to my mom and be like, don't send me, like, because I would never practice. I think over the next like 2 years I just picked up a guitar by myself and I started like just learning chords online. And I think at 15 I went through like my first, dramatic heartbreak. And a song just came out of me. And I just remember in that moment I was like, whoa, this is what I want to do. That feeling of being able to like process my own emotions and express myself at 15, like putting it into like guitar, vocal, and melody. I was like, okay, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And that was like the decision that I made.
15 and a heartbreake. But
yes.
Put us here. I'm glad that happened to you, and such a selfish, right?
I know. I'm so happy. I'm so happy he was just like, not great.
Well, let's talk about Cherry Love, a song from your debut EP, Hope and Heartbreak. So when you released Cherry Love, what were the feelings surrounding that moment? And did you expect it to get the traction it did?
Cherry Love was, I remember I was on vacation with my family in New York. And we had walked into, I think, an H&M, and there was a t-shirt that said Cherry Love with like 2 cherries. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. And I remember just going back to the hotel and writing the song. I don't even think I like thought about it too much. I just wrote it and then I loved it. I remember like at the time also like no one had really been doing like lyric videos. And I had this whole idea to like have an animation lyric video. VH1 India actually saw that and then picked it up. And I think it was the first time that I was like, because I was kind of just putting music out. I wasn't sure like I would put it online, but I hadn't released anything. This was the first thing I ever released. When I picked it up, I was like, oh, maybe I can actually do this, was the start of my whole career, honestly, was that song.
Right. No, it's a great song. It's a great song. A lot of the times, like, songs can be very serious, and I think that, the playfulness of the song, like, probably resonated with a lot of people. And I'm sure that's
and it's really cool because it's funny because I've taken it down on most platforms other than YouTube because I still love the lyric video. But I'll have people, DM me now and be like, oh my God, like I found this song again. And it was like, it was the soundtrack to my first girlfriend or it was the soundtrack to my first boyfriend. And like, I'm just like, oh my God, like that's so cool, so stuff like that makes me so happy.
Is there a song that you wish you wrote?
Ooh. Oh my God, so many, first of all. But I would say there's a song called Break Even by The Script. 'Cause when the heart breaks, no, it don't break even. Like that lyric, like when a heart breaks, no, it don't break even. Like it's just like genius to me. I'm just like, oh, why did I think of that? But yeah, that song to me, I think will forever just always stay at the top. It's just like timeless.
Been a part of some amazing songwriting projects like Bella Poarch's Dolls. What I'm fangirling the most about actually is Mon Meri Jaan with Nick Jonas. What was the creative process in like these two Western Indian styles, and how did you, Nick, and all the other collaborators on this track bring this vision to life?
It was really cool. I got hit up by Abhishek Patel, who was the A&R at Warner at the time.
Mhm.
And we'd kind of known each other for a while. We'd worked on projects before. He was like, hey, like we have this song by this artist King. It's called Mon John, and it's doing really well. We're really looking at, you know, trying to make it an international collaboration. It was very, very passionate about having India and the world connect musically. That's always just been a huge goal of mine, to like try and help spear collaboration in whatever form or shape it can be. So I hit up two of my best friends that I work with in LA a lot, David Arkwright and Miranda Glory, and I showed them the song and I was like, should we just create something and try this out? And we created Afterlife in that session. It was just one day, like first idea. I just felt like magic in the room, you know. I sent it back and King loved it. He was the first person who heard it and he was like, oh my God. So then they sent it over to Nick and then Nick loved it. And then he kind of wrote, you know, he kind of took it and made it his own. And I even loved that he sang the Hindi line, which I thought was
yeah, that's the one that like literally everyone's talking about. Like,
it is so cute. Yeah. And it was like such perfect timing, I feel like, because I feel like he, you know, he had just gotten married, and like it was such a cool way, I think, to just show like his love for the culture. I think just seeing that global collaboration come to life and being so proud of the actual music and the song, it was really cool.
When I heard it, I was just like, wow, we got him. He's we got him good. Like him singing in Hindi. It was so new, I think, for Western artists to engage that deeply with culture. Yeah. I think there was like always been some sort of underlying global, like dissemination of Indian rhythm, music, etc. But I think like the explicitness of it and the nature of the collaboration and everything like made it so proud,
So nice to hear, because that was honestly like my truest intention for that collaboration. So it's so nice to hear like from the outside of you feeling that way listening to it, because obviously to me it's always going to be special, but it's so nice to hear that from someone else, to be like, okay, that's what resonated with me and that was represented, because that was the most important thing to me. So that's really exciting to hear.
No, it was great. It was great. It is great. I wanted to talk a little bit about Roc Nation. You first Indian artist to sign with Roc Nation in a published roster. What did this milestone mean for you personally, and how do you think it shapes opportunities for South Asian artists coming out?
It was insane. It was really cool because basically I'd written that song for Bella Porch, Dolls, and I think Afterlife had just come out as well while we were talking. But there was so much serendipity actually with Afterlife. Basically, after I wrote the Bella Porch song, I started talking to publishers, and I was meeting with people, and Andrew Gould, who is the president of publishing at Roc Nation, DM'd me and was like, "You're killing it, let's meet." And I literally thought it was a scam. We ended up meeting and it was just incredible. I think we sat for 3 hours listening to music and talking about just culture and movement. And I had a lot of meetings, and it was the first meeting that I was just like, wow, this feels like it immediately,
Mm-hmm.
And then you walk in somewhere and you just know you belong there. And it was so crazy because one of the founders of Roc Nation, Tai Smith, Andrew had a meeting with him and was like, oh, we're looking to sign this Indian girl and she just wrote the song, and he plays him Afterlife. And Tai goes, oh, I know this song. And he goes, wait, what? And then he was like, because Nick was also, I think, managed by Roc Nation. The Jonas Brothers were managed by Roc Nation. And I guess Nick actually asked Tai what he thought of the song, and Tai was like, oh, this is amazing, I think you should do it. Kind of was just so the universe and serendipity, and it was wild that he'd heard it,
I think a lot of the times you don't reap the benefits of what you do right away, and the ability for to just believe in yourself and what your product is and what your music is, and just pushing it out and it just working out. That is the dream, that is what that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and I think, that there's so much that comes with the music business and all the, crappy stuff and all the, insane things. But I think these are the moments and the people that, it really makes everything worth it.
That's amazing. So what do you do in your free time? It seems like you don't have that much, but what do you do?
It's very rare, honestly. But I'm obsessed with Turkish shows, weirdly, like Turkish TV. I know it's so random. I barely watch any TV, but if I do, I'll watch a Turkish TV show. I know, it's so random, but they're so good. It kind of reminds me of really good Bollywood because it's so dramatic. Also just love a good home hang with friends, cooking, making Indian food, I literally tomorrow night we're doing a pani puri night, which I am so looking forward to.
Yep. And yep.
Yes. Like that,
I was watching the trailer for Picture This, and your music was in the trailer. Isn't the first time your music has been in TV shows? So Only Murders in the Building and then Wedding Season. How is that different from when you work with an artist or when you work independently? And what is the process for that?
So having music in any film or TV thing for me is just super special and full circle moment, because when I was in India, they didn't have English music on the radio.
Right.
I would literally watch One Tree Hill, The OC, Grey's Anatomy, yes. And didn't even have Shazam at the time, so I would literally write down all the lyrics that I would hear in the episode and I'd go on Google, and that's how I discovered so much of my music. Having anything in a TV show, even if it's the smallest thing to me, I get so much joy, and I'm just oh my god, because that's literally how I discovered it. Process kind of varies, honestly, for each project. For example, for Wedding Season, it was that I went in and I actually created the song. It was a really fun experience because they were this is kind of what's going on in the movie, can you write something like this? And then you have to kind of create it and you're in that zone. It varies. A lot of times, if I'm because I'll go into the studio just to write for film and TV, but I won't it won't be this is what I'm writing for. It's just I have it in the back of my head. So it's less, I guess, the song is maybe less personal about me, or what I'm going through, and I'm more just having fun with it.
That's so cool. In terms of more on this topic of being intentional about representation, what do you think is the crux point of if something is properly intentionally represented and what's not?
I think it really comes from who's making it, right? And what the intention is. I feel a lot of times I'll hear things that it's they've gotten these two huge artists on it, but I feel there's so much missing from the actual song. I think the moment it feels really good, when it feels really good when you're making it, I feel it always ends up, because you kind of know something is special the moment you make it.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of the last thing that I wanted to touch on, and I know it's really important, so I wanted to keep it until the end, but I know that fair dealings for songwriters and making sure that songwriters get paid is something that is extremely important to your ethics, but also in general to the way that songwriting in the industry is working right now. What do you think can be done for songwriters in the future for this to be something that is on the forefront of record labels' minds? And
I think it's still it just varies per project right now. The more leverage you have, I guess, the more they listen to you. How is it that a songwriter that has a number one or a billion streamed song on Spotify can't even pay their rent? And that to me blows my mind. And I think it just starts with, my management is very also passionate about asking for a fee, asking for a master point on the recording side, because, a lot of times they'll say, oh, songwriters can't get a master point because they're not on the sound recording. The song is on the sound recording.
Right.
I've never understood that argument. And it's, labels will be taking like 80, probably a lot of times even 50%, 60%, 80% of that thing. And a songwriter is asking for 1%. So that's just going to take time, I think, to change the laws. But I think in the meantime, just having record labels kind of take responsibility and be like, the same way we're paying employees, we're going to learn how to pay songwriters. And yeah, it's just super important to me, and super important to work with like-minded people that get it, because I just think it's like bare minimum.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sense. Real. I'm so happy that we got to chat today. It has been a long time coming. Thank you for hopping in with Saffron Creative House. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having me. This was awesome.
Yeah.